Hello, dear friends. This reflection is inspired by a tachycardia I suffered a few days ago. Opinion piece. People are fed up. We live in a dystopia. Society of weariness. The salvation of the beautiful. The expulsion of the different. Fatigue of the end of time. Overexploitation of oneself. We live in the age of speed. The purifying fire is very deep. There are no revolutionaries but depressives. The old way of life is gone. Infocracy is the crisis of democracy. Reflections by Korean philosopher Byung-Chul Han. Let's start. People are fed up is an expression used to convey the idea that people are tired, exhausted, or irritated with a certain situation, circumstance, or behavior. It is a way of indicating that they have reached their limit and are no longer willing to tolerate any more. France is the clearest example of this statement. The expression is often used when there is an accumulation of frustrations, inconveniences, injustices, or other problems that affect a group of people on a constant or recurring basis. It can refer to various aspects of life, such as politics, the economy, personal relationships, or work, among others. When it is said that people are fed up, it conveys the idea that there is a generalized level of dissatisfaction and that people are desiring change or improvement in the situation that affects them. It can be a sign of discontent, unrest, or a collective indignation. It doesn't take a genius to realize that this doesn't work. Never have so many adaptogens, such as coffee or ginseng, been sold to help you perform at work and make the grade, or so many tranquilizers to help you sleep afterwards. Never has there been so much forced laughter to make others like you. Enjoy yourself more and you will do better. We should play more and work less. Then we would create more. Tiredness. The tired society is a concept proposed by the South Korean philosopher and sociologist Byung-Chul Han. In his view, contemporary society is characterized by a prevalence of tiredness and fatigue rather than the repression and discipline characteristics of earlier societies. Tiredness and fatigue are dominant due to the constant pressure to be productive, overexploitation of oneself, a lack of leisure and rest. In the tiredness society, the individual is constantly under self-imposed pressure to be productive and successful. They have argued that this is partly due to the disappearance of old forms of repressive power, such as constant surveillance, and the emergence of new forms of control based on individual performance and competition. Those who fail in the performance society hold themselves responsible and are ashamed, instead of questioning society or the system. This is the special intelligence of the system of self-exploitation, where one directs aggression towards oneself. This self-aggressiveness does not turn the exploited into a revolutionary, but into a depressive. Instead of being directly exploited and repressed, individuals self-discipline and put themselves under constant pressure to be productive and successful. The society of exhaustion is characterized by overexploitation of the self, where people define themselves in self-employers and are trapped in never-ending quest for achievement and recognition. This society is also influenced by technology and social media, which encourage the constant display of life and create a sense of pressure to stay connected and visible at all times. In addition, the tired society is characterized by a lack of free time and rest, leading to widespread physical and mental exhaustion. According to Byung-Chul Han, this tired society can have negative effects on people's mental health, such as depression, anxiety, and burnout. He also raises the question of individual freedom in this society, arguing that overexploitation of oneself can lead to silent self-destruction. In his work, The Society of Exhaustion, the author points out, in quotes, "The society of work and performance is not free society. It produces new obligations. The dialectic of master and slave does not finally lead to a society in which everyone who is fit for leisure is a free being, but rather to a society of labor, in which the master himself has become the slave of labor. In this society of obligations, everyone carries with him his field or forced labor, and what is special about the latter is that there one is both prisoner and god, victim and executioner at the same time. In this way, one exploits oneself, making exploitation without domination possible." Close quotes. Fatigue. End-time fatigue is another concept proposed by the philosopher and sociologist Byung-Chul Han, which relates the society of tiredness. This concept refers to a phenomenon in which contemporary society is exhausted and worn out due to constant acceleration, overinformation, and overstimulation. End-time fatigue refers to the sense of exhaustion and weariness experienced in contemporary society due to constant acceleration, overinformation, and overstimulation. It is a phenomenon related to the tired society and poses significant challenges to mental health and well-being in today's world. In the fatigue of the end times, the individual is overwhelmed by the constant demand to be connected, up to date, and available 24 hours a day. There is a sense of urgency and pressure to seize every moment and keep up with the demands of the hyper-connected and globalized society. This phenomenon is influenced by technological advancement and the acquisition of electronic devices, which have led to an overexposure to information and constant distraction. In addition, the culture of consumption and the constant search for novelty and experiences also contribute to this fatigue, as it generates a sense of chronic dissatisfaction and the need to be always on the move. In the end-time fatigue, the individual experiences a sense of physical and mental exhaustion, a loss of energy and vitality, and a difficulty in finding meaning in the midst of constant overstimulation. There is a sense of being caught in a perpetual cycle of demands and stimuli, unable to find adequate rest. Byung-Chul Han argues that the end-time fatigue is a distinctive feature of contemporary society and raises questions about quality of life, mental health, and the need to compensate for modes of existence in such a fast-paced, information-saturated world. Sometimes we are so tired that we don't care about the end of the world. Transparency or vigilance. No other topic dominates public discourse today as much as the society of transparency or the hell of sameness. According to Han, anyone who refers to it only in terms of corruption and freedom of information is unaware of its scope. It manifests itself when trust disappears and society opts for surveillance and control. It is a systemic coercion, an economic imperative, not a moral or biopolitical one. Things become transparent when they are expressed in the dimension of price and are stripped of their singularity. The salvation of the beautiful, the polished, the smooth, the impeccable are the hallmarks of our time. They are what Jeff Koons' sculptures, smartphones, and waxing have in common. These qualities highlight the current excess of positivity that Han talks about in other essays, by which he focuses on and develops here in the field of art and aesthetics. The expulsion of the other. The times in which the other existed have passed. The other as friend, the other as hell, the other as mystery, the other as a desire are disappearing, giving way to the equal and the boring. The proliferation of the equal is what, masquerading as growth, constitutes today these pathological alterations of the social body. What ails society is not alignment and subtraction, nor prevision and repression, but hypercommunication, information overload, overproduction, and hyperconsumption. The expulsion of the different and the hell of the same set in motion an entirely different destructive process, depression and self-destruction. Fear. According to Nick Hammett, missionaries of the light are prone to ignore or even deny the external forces that play and maintain some dominance over the wounds of the soul, where elements of fear reside. It is common to blame such a flaw on self-reflection, but you were not to blame for your childhood traumas as a beautiful human being, a child of God. It is the shadow entities that hold power in your auric field and feed on your unconscious fears. Let us not give them energy except to dispel them with the light of our detachment and conscious observation. Once any shadow is exposed with the power of innocence, it withdraws and burns in the divine fires. As you approach the door of your liberation, you will be challenged in every way possible to bring yourself to your knees in doubt, helplessness, and victimhood. It is very important that you realize the light you carry and the fact that continued presence with others can be a challenge to them if they are not ready. Why do you think enlightened beings do not approach? Because they have such a high frequency that they would blow people's nervous systems and even cause physical death through the purity of the light that they have. When you know who you are and what your purpose is, you become a challenge to those who do not. Transcendence. Transcending the Past by Judith Castle. The blinding, flaming sweat of truth is being wielded. Great things are stirring now in France in particular. The new revolution of the power of love is breaking out. Many of the old souls are now in their last incarnation and will be challenged to dissolve, to wake, to forgive with loving grace all that has been wrongly created with other souls. The troubadours return, the bards, the love gospels, the gnosis, as the falsehoods fade away. The age of love is being born. Let those who have ears hear. Let those with inner eyes see. Let those who know intuitively know. Keep in mind that since the solstice, the energies have been lifting us into octaves or higher frequency bands, so don't be surprised when the soul's memory banks open and all patterns emerge. Open your heart, give thanks for the lessons of soul mastery, and finally, let go. Also, forgive yourself. The fires of purification are very deep, deeper than deep. The more you forgive and let go, the more your heart opens to divine love and light to fill you. The lighter and brighter you become, enormous blessings flow into our life as we let go. Transfiguration literally means to be transformed into pure divine light, divine love and divine power. To live fully the truth of your soul. To be fully transfigured into the rainbow body of light. Cleansing. Mira the Pleiadian through Valerie Donner says that the light is approaching the darkness. Much cleansing has taken place in this process, and it is an accelerated point. Focus on the breath to help release the past. See all that is bright and new wherever you look. You are creating the new. You are part of the magic and the miracles. You have shows waiting for you. You could be seeing ships, colors, activities, faces, messages in the sky, and hearing the sacred music of cosmic chorus. There are harbingers of the waves of love you are beginning to experience. What matters is that you are attentive and look around you. Notice everything. Pay special attention to how the old world is crumbling. You may be experiencing the challenges of the crumbling third dimension. This will not go on forever. We know it feels endless and at times it can be exasperating. Remember that the old story is opening the doorway to the whole new earth in the fifth dimension and higher. What you see now is changing from moment to moment and from day to day. You are no longer in the third dimension. Gone is the old life form. Let it go. It was not serving you or the rest of life on the planet. It was only serving those who serve themselves. They will not be able to resist this high frequency of love on earth. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.